We're going to start here momentarily, just letting people come into the room.
Sounds good.
There we go. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Miller. I'm with the PACAC organization here in Pennsylvania, and thank you for joining us for the Keystone Virtual College Exploration event. Today, you'll be hearing from the University of Pittsburgh staff, and first couple housekeeping items: your videos and your cameras and your sound are off. You'll be able to ask questions through the Q&A option. I always recommend sign up for more sessions. We have about another week left of another X amount, I think another 5 business days or so of sessions, and all recordings are located on our site. And I'll be jumping back in here right at around 3:45 to do a closing. So thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to our presenters.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jeremy. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tawanda Taylor, and I represent the University of Pittsburgh. And we thank you for taking the time to join us. So you'll learn lots of fun things about the University of Pittsburgh. Before we get started, I'd also like to introduce my colleague. His name is Steven Zyra, and he will be taking your questions. So please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we themed this presentation Pitt Unscripted, and there's several reasons for that. Number one, we're in a different space. We're all virtual and hybrid, and so that's unscripted. And also, students, you have the opportunity to write your own story. And so we're going to talk about those opportunities and how you can do that. So again, my name is Tawanda Taylor, and I'm an Assistant Director of Undergraduate Recruitment here at the University of Pittsburgh. And I'm also a very proud 2-time Pitt alumni member, and I'm here to assist you, as well as my colleague, Steven. That is a very cute picture of his new puppy. So Steven is with us. He'll be answering your questions in the chat. And he's also a very proud Pitt alumni member. There's his picture, and he just flashed just to wave and say hello. So we're really proud Pitt alums, and we look forward to talking with you. So both Steven and I represent the Pittsburgh campus, but we wanted to tell you about our regional campuses since we're all in Pennsylvania. We have 3 other campuses. As you can see, there's Bradford right below the New York border, Johnstown, and our closest campus is Greensburg. That's about 45 minutes east of us. And the reason why we are talking about those regional campuses is because you have the opportunity to consider the University of Pittsburgh, but in a different setting, either a suburban or a rural setting. So let's talk about Pittsburgh campus. Our Pittsburgh campus has 19,000 students, but the student to faculty ratio is 14:1. And we have over 100 different majors, minors, and certificates. And so for the purposes of this presentation, I'm going to talk about our 5 first-year entry programs. Now, of course, I have to talk about our notables because I'm a proud alum. Our university is ranked in the top 30 institutions according to the U.S. News and World Report. We're right now at 26. And we're actually number 1, according to the Wall Street Journal. We are the top Northeast public university. And Pitt is notable for its research, especially in medicine. As a matter of fact, we have scientists as we speak studying to try to find a cure for COVID and for the vaccine. And of course, many years ago, Jonas Salk discovered the polio vaccine. This is also an ideal place for students who are interested in business, engineering, again, as I mentioned, the health professions, and even the humanities. So there are a lot of great opportunities. And we also have graduate programs, and I'll talk to you about our graduate guarantee programs. So let's talk about our first year entry schools. There are 5 of them. Now, students, you may not know specifically what your major is yet, but for the purposes of the application, you have to indicate which school you're interested in. So go through each of those. The first is the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences. Now that happens to be our largest program. We have over 60 plus majors and over 50 minors and certificates. And this is ideal for students who are interested in arts and humanities, social sciences, mathematics and natural sciences, also cultures and languages. If you have an interest in any of the pre-professional programs, such as pre-law, pre-medicine, pre-pharmacy, you'll start in the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences, and also our students who are undecided. So if you're not quite sure what you want to major in, typically you will start in the Dietrich School. Now, when you begin taking courses, every student is assigned an academic advisor. So you have a freshman advisor that can assist you with selecting the appropriate courses. Once you declare your major, that's when you go into your particular department. So if you have an interest in history or biology, you start with your freshman advisor and then you go to that particular department. Typically, students declare their majors around sophomore year. So for you students who are undecided, you have time until you determine what your program will be. Now, as a high school student, the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences would like for you to have a well-rounded curriculum. So you have different types of courses in sciences. So typically 2 to 3 different types of sciences. Math, at least through trigonometry, is ideal, and 2 to 3 different social sciences. Again, the idea is for you to have a well-rounded curriculum. The next first year entry school is the College of Business Administration, or Pitt Business. Pitt Business has a variety of different majors, approximately 7 that range from accounting to finance to supply chain. There's a very strong emphasis on career development. As a matter of fact, Pitt Business is the only school that has its own career development office. Now, the university has a general career office for every single major, but for Pitt Business specifically, they have their own department. They have academic and career coaches. They even have what we call executives in residence. These are people with 10 to 15 plus years of experience in a particular field who provide professional coaching to students. Many of our students in Pitt Business go abroad. They even do internships abroad and a lot of opportunities for experiential learning. Now, as a high school student, there's a stronger emphasis on math. So you must have at least 3 units or at least 4 units of math through trigonometry. Pre-calculus and calculus are a plus. 2 to 3 different social sciences, and typically between 2 to 3 different natural sciences. The next program or the next school is the Swanson School of Engineering. And it has approximately 10 different majors, and they also have their own minors and certificates. The emphasis is on research and innovation. There's also a very strong emphasis on professional development and career development. As a matter of fact, engineers have access to a paid internship opportunity called a co-op. That'll allow students to take part in a paid internship for at least a semester to a year before they graduate. Now that is optional, but students do take advantage, and many companies would like to hire them upon graduation. As a matter of fact, as engineering students, again, there's a lot of opportunities for research. And as a high school student, the emphasis is very specific on sciences, on laboratory sciences. As a matter of fact, 2 of the sciences that are required should be chemistry and physics. Math should be at least through trigonometry. Pre-calculus and calculus are a plus. And also 2 to 3 different social sciences. Similar to the Dietrich School and business, every student is assigned an academic advisor. Now, similar to the Dietrich School, you do have a freshman engineering advisor. So all of the engineers take the same coursework. And then once you declare your major, such as bioengineering, chemical, industrial, etc., that's when you go to that particular department for advising. The next school is the School of Computing and Information. Pitt is probably one of the oldest schools that offered computer science. It's had its program for approximately 50 years, and it was offered separately from information systems. So what happened is that the schools merged, and now we have the School of Computing and Information. The emphasis is also on innovation, research, and experiential learning. Now, also, as a high school student, you should have a strong science background, at least 3 different laboratory sciences. Math should be at least through trigonometry. Pre-calculus and calculus are always a plus. And of course, 2 to 3 different social sciences. Similar to the other programs, students are assigned an academic advisor. And for this particular school, you have the same advisor for all 4 years. Finally, the last freshman entry school is the School of Nursing. The School of Nursing will provide students with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, or BSN. They earn over 940 clinical rotation hours. So students have a lot of clinical experience before they graduate. Here in Pitt School of Nursing, students are taught by extremely experienced practitioners, and rotations take place in a variety of different things, such as community hospitals, nonprofit clinics, and trauma centers. Upon graduation, students are also prepared for the NCLEX RN exam, which will allow them to be registered nurses, and they're well sought after by a variety of different employers. And Pitt is really fortunate because we're located near at least 6 different teaching hospitals. Now, as a high school student, because the emphasis is on clinical experience, you must have at least 3 different laboratory sciences. One of those must include chemistry. Math should at least be through trigonometry, but pre-calculus and calculus are always a plus. And this is our smallest, most competitive school. I also wanted to mention another academic opportunity. This is ideal for students who want a more rigorous curriculum and who are also intellectually curious. Pitt Honors College, or Pitt Honors, is a small, tight-knit community of approximately 600 students. You have the opportunity to apply for a variety of different national scholarships, such as the Rhodes Scholar, the Truman or the Marshall Scholarship, even the Fulbright. As a matter of fact, one of the 2020 Truman Scholars was a University of Pittsburgh student. If you're interested in Pitt Honors, you do have to indicate that on your application. There's a category in which you can indicate if you want to be considered for Pitt Honors. It's highly competitive. So what we're looking for Pitt Honors is students who have a really challenging curriculum. You have to have the top and highest grades, and also a dedication to public service. So there's a lot of different service projects that you can do through the Pitt Honors, research opportunities, but you also have to have a primary academic program. So it's not a standalone college. You would pursue Pitt Honors in conjunction with your other academic programs that I just mentioned. The other option for students in this program is that you can apply for the Bachelor of Philosophy degree, which is a research or dissertation-based degree only offered through Pitt Honors. And in a few slides, I'll tell you the deadline date for the application. I also want to mention that we do have 18 guaranteed admission programs to graduate school. So if any of you are interested in going to medical school or becoming a physician's assistant or getting your master's in business, even social work, we offer 18 different guaranteed programs for these different graduate programs. Now there's different criteria for each program. So we have it all on our website. And so if you're interested, again, you can indicate that on your application. And the admissions committee will give careful review to your courses and your curriculum and of course your grades. Now this is a 2-part program. Students who are offered the guaranteed admission program to these graduate schools will be offered that as part of the admissions process. And then students, you have to maintain the grade point average or the academic criteria as an undergraduate student. This is a great opportunity for all students who are interested in graduate programs, but also if you decide to change your mind, it's a non-binding agreement. So you don't have to be bound to this particular program if you choose other options. Now, I did want to give a snapshot of our student life. I know since we're all virtual, it's great to see pictures of people being together. I do want to mention a couple of things about this slide. We have over 350 study abroad opportunities. So if students are interested in going abroad for either 2 weeks or an entire semester, or even doing an internship abroad, those options are available. There are over 700 different student organizations. And the great thing about being at Pitt is if there's an organization that you haven't found or there's a particular niche that you're interested in, you can create your own organization. And finally, of course, we had to have a picture of the Pitt Panthers, one of our sports teams. But I also wanted to talk about the internship guarantee, and that goes into the next slide. The internship guarantee represents learning outside the classroom. All Pitt students who complete pre-internship workshops are guaranteed either an internship or an experiential learning opportunity. So we feel that your professional and career development is extremely important. We also, there's a picture of a person doing research. Students as early as freshman year, second semester freshman year, you can do research. As a matter of fact, we have an undergraduate research office in which you can work with a faculty member to conduct some research projects. So I want to talk next about the application process. And then it's probably easy for you to go through the application process with me because we're going to do a countdown. So number 5, there are 5 different first year entry schools. As I just mentioned, you have the choice between arts and sciences, business, engineering, nursing, and computing and information. You can only pick one of those schools. So as I said in the beginning, you don't have to know your major specifically, but you do have to identify one of these schools. 4 different campuses to choose from. The Pittsburgh campus, and of course, one of the 3 other regional campuses, and please rank them on your application. 3 different ways to apply. We have our university application. We also have the coalition application and a common application. Many of our students apply through the common application. We don't have a particular preference, but we would like for you to only choose one way to apply. Or there's 3 different ways, but only choose one of those applications. Number 2, acceptable test scores. Now, we will still accept the SAT 1 or the ACT. However, the majority of our programs are test optional. So we know that during COVID, a lot of you may have signed up for your standardized test scores only to have those dates canceled. So for that reason, we want to make sure we accommodate you. And so if you're applying to the 4 out of the 5 programs, arts and sciences, business, engineering, and computing and information, you may apply test optional. The only school in which that's an exception is Pitt School of Nursing. They still require the SAT or the ACT because of the licensure with the NCLEX exam. They're still requiring that students submit standardized test scores. And then finally, number 1, you only need to submit 1 academic record or the self-reported academic record or the SAR. Once you complete or start the application process, especially I know with the coalition application, you start that and then you're sent a link so that you can begin to create your self-reported academic record. It's extremely efficient. So we really want students to utilize that. The admissions committee can review it a lot faster, but we still accept high school transcript. At the very end, we will need your final high school transcripts, but we still need just 1 record for the review. Now, the application process wouldn't be complete without an essay. We do want to emphasize that if you are applying test optional, we strongly encourage a personal statement. Now, what you see in front of you are 4 different essay questions, but students were only asking you to complete 2 of the 4 of those statements. And we really want you to take the time to give us a well-written essay, proofread it, possibly have a friend or even a teacher to review your essay before you submit it. And I have to say, as a member of the admissions committee, I truly enjoy reading your essays and tell us something about yourself that's not already on your application. So that's part of the application process. Next, I want to talk about scholarships. The University of Pittsburgh offers a variety of different scholarships that range from $2,000 to a full tuition room and board scholar. And as Pennsylvania students, you may also apply to 2 additional scholarships, which is the Nuremberg Leadership Scholarship or the STAMP Scholarship. Now, to apply for the university scholarship, you just simply need to submit and complete the application process before December the 15th. Now, the Nuremberg and the STAMP Scholarship requires a separate application. So go to our website, to the University of Pittsburgh's financial aid website, and we'll be able to assist you with the application process. Now, if you're applying for need-based financial aid based on family income, you can begin to apply through the free application for federal student aid, or the FAFSA. It's already open, so you can go ahead and begin to apply now. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that the university has a database of thousands of different scholarships called Pitt Funds Me. So you have an access of a variety of different resources to help fund your education. We have different deadlines. Now, I do want to mention that our application process is on a rolling basis. So that means we accept applications until slots are filled in those different academic schools. So we're still accepting applications right now. However, if you want to be considered for certain opportunities, you must apply before those deadlines. The first is the medical school guarantee for one of the graduate guarantee admission programs. That deadline is literally around the corner. It's November 1st. So it is recommended that students hurry up and get it in now because it usually takes a few days to process. The next deadline is Pitt Honors, and that's December the 1st. So if you're interested in applying to the University Honors College, please have all of your materials in before December 1st. The scholarship deadline is December the 15th, so you still have some time to apply to be considered for a university scholarship. And again, you want to give yourself some extra time, especially if you want to apply to the Stamps or Nuremberg scholarships. If you're interested in applying for the Physician's Assistant Graduate Program or the Graduate Guarantee Program, that deadline is January 15th. And the other 2 deadlines that are noted for February 1st and April 1st, those are deadlines specifically for our international students. So there are different ways to connect with us. We do have virtual visits, which are called our fall unscripted virtual visits. As a matter of fact, we have a variety of different academic schools who facilitate presentations. You get to meet with current students. We have our virtual presentations or daily presentations, or I believe they're offered a few times a week. So that's one way to connect with us. We're also on social media. So at Pitt Admissions, follow us please on social media, or you can send us an email, pitt.admissions@pitt.edu. So I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to open it up for any questions that you may have. And Stephen, if there are any questions that you want to share, perhaps there's some students who have some burning questions.
Sure. So no questions yet in the Q&A, and I would encourage students, if you do have questions, for the University of Pittsburgh, be sure to put them in the Q&A, and Tawanda and I will answer them live here. But as you all could see from the beginning of the presentation, Tawanda has great University of Pittsburgh experience. I think that's one thing that she does really well when talking with students and families, because she was an advisor, and now she's in admissions and has kind of a great feel for the university. And so we can start out with a question for her. And that is, what should students be doing kind of right now in the process? What should they be focusing on? What should they be thinking about? And maybe
Sure.
what's, as we wait for questions, what are some of the questions that maybe they should be asking as they start this college process?
Oh, great. That is a great way to start, Stephen. And first of all, thank you for sharing that I was an academic advisor. And so what I've noticed is that many students are really nervous if they're undecided. And some students get concerned if they want to double major or triple major. So I'll start with undecided, and then I'll talk a little bit about the majors. If you're undecided, here's some questions you can ask yourself. What academic subjects are you really interested in? Are there classes that you can be in there for 2 hours if need be? Or are there subjects where you're thinking, wow, if this was a 10-minute class, that would be great. So think about the academic subjects that you're interested in. The other thing you want to think about is, what do you like to do outside of the classroom, the extracurricular activities? And I also want you to think about leadership. Leadership does not mean a title. So it's possible that you can help organize a food drive. It's possible that you could work with a really cool startup company or a nonprofit organization. Think about some things that you really enjoy doing. Even during the pandemic, even most of us are virtual, but there are still certain places that really could use your help. Is there a small business that you can help them start their social media? Is there a place where they just need someone to help? I'm going back to the food distribution, because that's an area where a lot of places need help. So those are some kind of self-inventories, students, that you can start with. And then the other piece of advice is to build your network. Regardless of what your major is, it's really important to connect with people. So Stephen and I are more than happy to talk to you. We're more than happy to help you as representatives of the university and very proud alumni members. Connect with some family and friends. Do you have any older siblings who are college students? So find out about their experiences. And your parents' friends. Do they work for a particular company? Are they entrepreneurs? Those are ways for you to expand your network. A lot of times when you start with family and you're telling them that you're going to the University of Pittsburgh or whatever institution you choose, and you really want to get some experience, more likely than not, they want to help you. So start with people that are closest to you. Your teachers and guidance counselors, they're there to help you. So the first, again, is the self-inventory. What are you interested in, both inside and outside the classroom? And also expand your network. And that network is going to grow. So you'll start with your friends and family, your friends at school, your employers. So if you have a part-time job, that's another way to add to your network. And then your university community, where you have your peers. And I would have to say, Stephen, that the most valuable resource are the peers. And you probably can attest to this, that whenever we have on-campus programs and we have our Pitt Pathfinders, who are the tour guides, but they do so much more than that, and current students, they are just extremely valuable people to know. So your peers, alumni members, we have over 300,000 Pitt alumni members all around the world. Our freshman class, and I don't think I mentioned that earlier, I talked about the 19,000 students. The student faculty ratio is 14-1, but your freshman class has over 4,000 students from 37 different countries and almost all 50 states. So we have a very diverse group of students that you can interact with. Make a friend from somebody who's overseas, make a friend from somebody who's across the street, or make a friend with someone who's from California or a further state. So Pitt pretty much has, I would say we have everything. I'm being, bold because I'm an alum, so I'll say it. We have so many different opportunities for you. So I'm hoping that this is some good advice.
And I think that was great advice. Thanks so much, Tawanda, for sharing that. And I think in the admissions office, we definitely understand that students are thinking about all of these things, but sometimes have questions about just where to start and how to convey that message. And so that will be my next question to you is how can students start to convey that message to the admissions committee, or what are some of the best ways for them to do that? But before you answer, I'll give you a chance to think about it just a little bit. But the one thing that we talk about in our office a lot is storytelling. And so we want to tell the story of the University of Pittsburgh to prospective students and to prospective families. And I encourage you to think about that as well whenever you are applying to the University of Pittsburgh. So we do not have an opportunity for students to come on campus for an on-campus admissions interview, but I do challenge you to think about your application as your opportunity to sit down and interview with the University of Pittsburgh for a potential seat in our class. And so if you were to sit down in an interview, you probably wouldn't talk about too many things inside of the classroom, right? Maybe you're talking about some of your passions inside of the classroom, but a lot of your conversation will most likely be outside of the classroom and how students and how you are applying all of those great things that you're learning inside of the classroom outside. And then also what some of your passions will lead you to do. And how you expect the University of Pittsburgh to help you kind of reach those goals professionally and academically and personally. And so I encourage students to think about that whenever they're crafting responses to some of our short answer questions, whenever they are kind of going through their resume. Maybe make note of a couple of things that you're especially proud of on that resume and expand on those, right? I love nothing more than whenever I'm reading a student's application and I see their activities list or I see their resume and I see that they were, they're the captain of the soccer team, but then in a short answer question, they go on to talk about why being a captain was so important to them or a challenge that they had throughout the season that they were able to overcome by being a student leader. And those are the type of students that we are looking for, the students who, and self-inventory, I think was a great way that Tawanda put it, can kind of look within themselves, within the skills, within the experiences they've had, and self-identify why that's going to make them a good fit for the University of Pittsburgh. And so, Tawanda, I'll give you an opportunity now, maybe to talk a little bit about some of the ways you're seeing students convey effectively, all of those strengths that they have to the admissions committee, because I think that's such a big piece of the admissions process.
Yes. And Stephen, I'm glad that you mentioned, especially in the short answer questions, or we'll use the term essay synonymously. We've seen strong essays, and what we mean by that are things that are not already on the student record. We could read your academic record or your transcript. We could read your application. So I think Stephen hit the nail on the head when he talked about passions. What are you most passionate about? There are things that you may have done in terms of, part-time job and some things outside the classroom, some fun organizations. But a lot of times it's hard to see passion unless you're talking with somebody. But it's possible to show us the passion when you write about it. I've seen essays in which some students are interested in medicine because a family member had a particular illness that they want to cure. That's something we're not going to see on the application. And maybe the student, of course, isn't in the position to do the research, but they're passionate about it. Leadership, sports, you're constantly in situations where there's a lot of learning, but there's a lot of, what are some things that you've learned from this particular game or match or tournament? Are there things within the team? If you have more than one human being together, there's going to be conflict. So there could be a particular time where you were the person, the mediator, to resolve some conflict. That's that's a key skill to have. As a matter of fact, that's something you should think about in an interview. How did you resolve conflict? The other thing is aspirational. We do have questions about, if there's something you can invent. We're looking at innovation. So, think about the things that you've done, but think about the passion and the things that you want to do. So even if it hasn't been realized or it hasn't come to pass yet, we're interested to know about your innovation. How do you want to change the future? What's going to be your role? A lot of times, even currently, Stephen, we're of course in the middle of a major health crisis and all these things that are happening in the world. And those are problems. We have a lot of problem solvers out here. We have a lot of problem solvers that's on this call or in this webinar watching us. So think about some of the problems in the world and how do you want to solve it? How do you want to attack it? I would say, just to feed off of what Stephen said, really demonstrate your passion. The other thing the term that we have is demonstrated interest. So come to our virtual events. Come to our virtual presentations, campus tours, connect with one of our Pathfinders, because that's going to show our school that you're really interested. Do you have an alumni member of the family who can't stop talking about Pitt? That's even better. Talk to mom, dad, or even grandma or grandpa. And then find ways to connect with our alumni community. So passion, talk about things that you've done, talk about your aspirations and innovation, and definitely, once again, I'm wrapping back around to networking and connect with people.
Yeah, that is a great answer. And networking, connecting with people are so important. And that's one thing that I think the University of Pittsburgh and our office has really tried to do and continue to do, even in a world where we're not able to have on-campus visitors. We still have so many ways for students and families to connect with great ambassadors for the University of Pittsburgh, and our Pitt Pathfinders really do kind of lead at the top of that. So if anybody is on this call and they're looking for a connection or just a conversation or someone to email with and ask questions, I really do encourage you to head over to our website and you can find some really creative and unique ways for students to connect with some of our students. In a way, this pandemic has opened up a lot of kind of virtual doors that maybe we didn't see a need for just 6-7 months ago. Now it really is our main gateway to answer all the students' questions. I know a lot of those opportunities for students have been really great and really successful. We have a little bit of time left here, and again, if you do have any questions for us, for Tawanda, for myself, about the University of Pittsburgh in general, please feel free to drop some questions in the question and answer. You can see the button kind of on the bottom of your screen, and we can answer that live here on the chat.
Well, the other thing I'm just curious to know, we do have a couple of minutes. If students would feel free to we want to know what high schools you're from. Just tell us, it's kind of that homecoming time of year where people, show their school spirit. And so, Stephen and I are just curious. We're proud of being Pitt alumni members. And so we have that school spirit. But if you want to take a second just to tell us what schools you're representing, we just want to know, so we can say hello.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can put that in the Q&A portion as well, and we will await that. And one thing I think that Tawanda has mentioned a couple of times today is just the student body at the University of Pittsburgh, and students are coming really from all over the country, all over the world, and getting to interact with one another. I know that whenever I was a Pitt student, I came from a high school where I felt, I was part of a class of about 170 students. You can see my last name, so I was about 171st out of all of those students when looking at alphabetical order. But it was really cool to see that students were kind of coming from all over, and I got to learn a lot about myself and a lot about others and kind of explore that way. Tawanda, do you have anything about the student body that you think really stands out to you?
One of the things that stands out with our students is a lot of their openness and willingness to try different things. As I mentioned several slides ago, we have over 700 student organizations. And we don't just say that we have, a Pitt school or, it is the University of Pittsburgh, but we often refer it to as a community. So we are absolutely a community of students, faculty, and staff members. I do want to mention one thing. There's Pitt Make a Difference Day. I mean, there's a lot of different ways in which students come together, but students from different organizations come together at least once a year in which they serve the community. So it's this massive groups of students to, they may work with their student organizations or they may do it individually. And what they do is they literally serve our Pittsburgh community, Pitt Make a Difference Day. So my one word, Stephen, is community. Even though we're very diverse, we have students literally from all over the world. We do come together for different causes, different things that we either not just raise money, but just to give time to. So it is a huge community and anybody can find their way here. We have over 700 organizations and less than 12% are Greek lettered organizations. So some people may feel, well, if I'm not a part of this group, then I won't have any family or any friends. And that's not true. We have a very vibrant community where students can fit in anywhere and you can create your own space if you don't see a pre-existing organization.
Awesome. Yeah, community is a big word and something that I encourage all students to try to find in their higher education destination. We did receive a question in the question and answer piece, and it is, what is the average GPA of accepted students?
Wow, it actually varies per school. Some schools, now here's the thing, you want to have the highest grades possible. So in some programs, if you're interested in becoming an engineer, you want to have upwards of 3.5, 3.7, et cetera. So think about more A's than B's. Not all of our students have a 4.0 because we're also looking at different things. It's a holistic review. So we're not only looking at your grades, but the curriculum and a grade trend. What if 9th grade, you didn't have the best year, but you really turned it around 10th, 11th, and 12th grade? So whoever wrote that question, we want you to think about not just the GPA, but your grades, your grade trends, your curriculum, your extracurricular activities, leadership. We're looking at all of that. So keep that in mind. Don't feel bad or beat yourself up if you had one bad semester. Just talk to us about it in your essay, and we take all of that into consideration.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. We are looking for students to challenge themselves in the context of their high school. And so whenever I'm, communicating with students, and this is a question that we get a lot, it's hard for us to throw just a blanket number out there because it means so many different things across grading scales and things like that. But I usually tell students, we encourage them to perform well in an academically competitive curriculum relative to their high school. So to the grade trend piece and everything in between, we are looking for students who want to be challenged in a classroom. Pitt courses are by no means easy courses. And so we want students to kind of accept and want that challenge academically and perform well in that sense. Tawanda, we are just about here at the end of our presentation. Do you have any last minute things we'd like to share with our participants?
Yes, reach out to us. We want to hear from you. We're here to help you. You also have what we call a territory manager. So regardless of where you are in Pennsylvania, you can go to our website and find out who your particular assigned enrollment services manager is. So definitely reach out to us. We're here to help. And that's my advice. We have a minute. Stephen, do you want to add to that?
Nope. I think, if you have not yet applied to the University of Pittsburgh, be sure to apply early. We are looking to get students' decisions as quick as possible, and always feel free to reach out if there's anything that we can do in the process to help you. Thank you very much for spending a little bit of your afternoon with us. I hope that you guys enjoy your weekend.
Yes, enjoy your weekend. Thank you. And Hail to Pitt. Thank you.
Hail to Pitt.
Thank you all for joining us. Have a great afternoon. At the end of the conclusion of the webinar, there'll be a quick survey. Please take a moment to do that and enjoy your weekends, everyone. Thank you very much.